Hey there, Oz.
Hey there, Curtis.
Hey, what we watching this week?
This week we're watching Heathers
Mm-hmm.
meets Mean Girls
Uh-huh.
with a dash of Ethan Fohawk and a whole lot of Inside the Actors Studio.
Nice.
This week we're watching Jawbreaker.
Inside the Actors Studio.
I would record and rewatch that episode if was it James Lipton? Was that his name?
Yes, James Lipton.
If James Lipton has the 4-girl cast, which honestly standalone are all fine performers, like minus maybe Rebecca Gayheart, but
yeah,
but she was fine in this one. But I would love to see him deep dive into the psyches of
Courtney, tell me more
Exactly.
about your motivation.
Exactly. Julie, Miss Benz, what about your character would you say makes you foxy?
You claim to be foxy. What evidence supports your claim?
And then, like the theater boyfriend just looked like Ethan Hawke.
Yeah,
but he wasn't. So
yeah, he's faux hawk. Yeah.
So, welcome back, listeners and viewers, to another week of Let's Talk About Flicks, the podcast where we take a monthly theme. This month being Ouch Movies Month.
Ouch.
Your genius title for
Thank you.
For a month of movies whose titles would be physically difficult to deal with.
They would ouch.
Yes. So last week, of course, was Whiplash.
Yep. Ouch.
More of a tissue muscular damage.
Yes. Yeah. Nothing permanent, but it still ouches.
And this one is Jawbreaker, which would hurt.
Yes. You broke your jaw.
Yeah, you broke your jaw, and I would have liked to have my time back for this one, but so be it. So be it. It was my pick. So. Before we do get rolling out, though, we want to give a shout out to our loyal Patreon subscribers: Don S, Aaron A, Mady K, Melissa L, Colleen K, and Lyle M. Thank you guys for your recurring patronage.
Yes, no ouches from them.
No, we love you guys. Soft landing all around.
Also, shout out to the Chicago indie critics as well.
Yeah, those guys do wonderful work over there too. As we, we wrap up a 2024, which means right now we're doing the nitty gritty work of determining who's going to win the prestigious Windy Awards.
Yes, the prestigious Windy.
So
it's German, so it's Windy.
It's Windy Awards.
It's Windy. The Windy Awards.
It's the Windy Awards. I do like that name though for for a critic organization based in Chicago. The Windy Awards. You want a Windy.
Yeah, so, very clever Chicago Windy.
One of these years we'll have to pool our resources together and actually attend an event.
Yes, yeah.
So
one of these years we'll figure that out.
One of these years we'll get there. And so my movie, so you've got the cast, and like I spoiled last week, but really all the cast members that I mentioned aren't important.
No, it's last week with Whiplash, very small cast, really only 2 that mattered.
Yeah.
I could arguably say nobody matters. This wasn't a good movie.
No, it wasn't.
But we'll have a lot of fun talking about it.
Well, and it's like we were talking a little bit pre-show of it's kind of an earworm. It's been an earworm lately. I watched it yesterday. I know you watched it maybe the day before. You watched it recently, but it's like it wasn't good. But why am I still thinking about it?
Yeah, that you're right. Like, why does this movie stick out from all the sort of similar movies?
Right.
Like in like the late 90s, early aughts that were kind of like your teen comedies.
And this movie, I mean, this is tried and true late 90s movie. Like it feels every ounce of just late 90s film.
Yeah. So we've got, as far as the cast goes, we start with 4 friends, 4 females who attend high school. I didn't look at the actual ages, but I did see in the trivia that they intentionally cast actresses who are all in their like mid-20s.
Right. It's like this director seemed to be inspired by much better high school movies. And I don't know because I didn't look into his filmography, I don't know if he's peaked like this. I mean, granted, he's made a movie. I've not done that. So kudos to this guy. But it's like when you're watching De Palma's Carrie and you're watching, was like Randall Kleiser's Grease, and you're like
Mhm.
inspired by that, and you're like, I'm gonna make my own. Heather's as well. I'm gonna make my own high
Yeah.
school film. But like this is the peak of your directing ability of like, I found a book with 45 different camera angles, and I'm gonna make sure I use them all. So,
Every one of them. Yeah,
but go ahead.
I just looked at the guy's filmography and Wikipedia, and I didn't recognize anything.
Right.
So, again, we've got our 4 main cast members. We've got Rose McGowan as Courtney. And again, this is your stereotypical like popular high school girl, the beautiful girls who rule the school socially,
Right.
and she's the one who rules with fear.
Mm-hmm.
You've got her kind of minion Marcy, played by Julie Benz, who's kind of she's portrayed as the dumb one,
Yeah.
who's just a follower of Courtney's. Then you have Rebecca Gayheart as Julie, who's initially just kind of there, like she isn't given like a role. She isn't given an identity in the beginning, like
Right.
what role does she play within the 4.
Yeah.
And then there's Liz, who is one of the popular girls, but is rich and beautiful, but also kind. So
Yeah,
even though
like everybody loves Liz Purr.
Yes.
The name's correct. Yeah.
Liz Purr.
Yeah. At first I was like, is her name Whisper? Is that why we never hear her say a word in the film?
Yeah. The only time you hear her voice is in the card recording.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah. I'm a Whisper.
Liz's parents are played by, of all people, William Catt and PJ Souls, both of Carrie
fame. Yes.
Carrie is another one that easily could have made the movie Marriage.
Yeah, I left it out just out of respect for Carrie.
You didn't want to sully the name of Carrie.
No, I didn't. I almost put Superstar in here.
Okay.
Fern Mayo was giving me Mary Kathleen Gallagher vibes.
Yeah, I could get that.
Plus, just that late 90s like pastel vibe everywhere.
Exactly. Yeah. I know as I do when it's not my week, I still like to kind of create, or at least jot down like movie Marriage ideas. I had Twin Peaks and Clueless down. Also.
I had Twin Peaks at one point too. I left Clueless out, but I did have Twin Peaks. Yeah. But I took it out of respect for Twin Peaks. No, I took it out because they solved this murder, but it wasn't the same type of beautiful teenage murder woman kind of thing. But I did have Twin Peaks, and then but I felt like, all right, Mean Girls was obvious, Heathers was obvious, and I didn't want to stretch it way out. Sure. And I knew I wanted to go something prestigious, like inside the actor's studio. So the actor's studio. I was missing a part 4 until I was like, the guy looks like Ethan Hawke.
Yeah, he does look like Ethan Hawke. So we've got the Purrs. We've got we also have the Greer sisters, Pam and Judy.
I saw that in the trivia where Judy went up to Pam. My last name's Greer too. I always view like exploitation film stars as like that's just their persona. Yeah. Now, I see Pam Grier just being real rough and looking at her up and down and be like, I don't think we're related. I just
puts her cigarette out on Judy Greer's forehead.
Right. Why don't you go outside and eat that?
So we've got Judy in the sort of dual role as Fern and Violet.
Violet,
that's right. Violet.
Yeah.
Fern Mayo, which I will say is a fun name.
I like the name
Fern Mayo. Yes.
Whenever they refer to her before the Violet change, they're like, mayonnaise? Just mean. This movie's
if they would have been smarter, they would have called her Hellman's.
Exactly. Real obvious there is as we get into it, like, oh, Julie's last name's Freeman. Like, the one that broke free from the group is so it's just silly stuff like that.
Yep. So Judy Greer is Fern and Violet. Pam Grier is Detective Vera Cruz. We also have Carol Kane as Principal Sherwood. Tatiana Ali in Blinkin' You Miss It as another classmate whose name I don't even think is mentioned.
Brenda Chadwell. I will give the movie props for this. Mm-hmm. I liked how like the discrimination in the film was not based on anything racial.
Sure.
I mean, not that it didn't make
it was
my
all
line up,
social,
but
yeah.
it's like, yeah, here's Tatiana Ali, who's like the only black cast member.
Yeah.
But she's not part of the cool girls, but she's also not left out, at least apparently, because of her color. Like, she does kind of gravitate. She's like one of those fringe friends of the group.
Yes.
And so I did like that didn't come up, because late 90s was still a very prickly time for
Yes,
differences. You know, Save the Last Dance. It's almost like Hollywood was going overboard of like, look, we're cool with blacks. Like, we're cool.
See, there's one.
Yeah, we made a movie with the whitest girl we know dancing like a black man. Like, thanks, Hollywood.
See that? Pat on the back. Way to go, Hollywood.
Oh, we did it again.
We got Chad Christ as Zach. I'm assuming it's a hard Christ. It could be Trist as well.
I like Christ. Trist. I like maybe it's Cad Christ.
Cad. It's a silent H.
Yeah, it's like it's Chad.
Maybe they're both silent. It's Cad Christ.
or it's Chad Trist.
There you go. He's plays Zach. He's the theater kid. He's the aforementioned Ethan Faughawk.
Yeah, he's the Ethan Faughawk character.
We have Ethan Erickson as Dane, big dumb football player Dane. Then we also got well, I'll mention one more. We have Marilyn Manson as the Stranger. At the time, Rose McGowan and Marilyn Manson were, I think, engaged.
I think so, yeah.
And so she found a way to weasel in her fiance into this movie.
Like Foxy's dad is played by Jeff Conaway.
Yeah.
From Grease.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was Kaneki. So there's
That's
that
right.
other play in of let's go get somebody from one of the movies that inspired us. Sandy
Martin, who plays the nurse, was in Napoleon Dynamite. She was Grandma.
Yeah.
And she's also plays Mac's mother in It's Always Sunny. She always has like 2 cigarettes hanging out of her mouth.
Just bored with them.
Just the walking embodiment of Marlboro.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love Always Sunny. It's such a funny.
I need to get to it.
Yes, you do. Just bear through the first season.
Oh, of course.
It's only 6 episodes.
Yeah,
but
first seasons are always hit or miss.
Yeah, it's kind of like Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Like, it's not awful, but you
right,
just
but it hadn't caught their stride yet.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the cast of the illustrious, memorable.
I wonder if this
Jawbreaker.
I didn't look. Was this one of the 38 movies ranked higher than Whiplash?
I think so. I think it's actually 36 and a half.
Oh, that's why it didn't make the list. Yeah. They don't round. They just they only go whole numbers.
Yeah, it's just whole numbers.
So I got the plot of this cinema masterpiece.
Yeah.
We start with an introduction of the characters. It's the flawless 4, Courtney, Marcy, Julie, and Liz. The only thing they do at school is just walk up and down the hallways.
Yep.
Backlit.
I think you see them in a classroom once.
Yeah. They all have different schedules, but this school is very gracious with their passing period time.
Yes.
As there are
I think it's a 25-minute passing period for 15-minute classes.
I think so. So these 4 walk it. It's just more of an introduction. We do see Fern Mayo is walking ahead of the pack and drops her books. Mm-hmm. And everyone walks past her except Liz, who stops to help her.
Yeah, because Liz is the kind
because
one.
Again, we're just painting the picture that that's who these girls are. They are, they all have their own reason for being there, and you talked about them in the cast list. But Liz is the nice one, and so 15 minutes of credits, and then
he's not kidding, folks. It is one of the for a movie that is less than an hour and a half.
Yeah,
that opening credits, which is about 5 minutes into the movie,
right?
Then you get the opening credits. It takes forever. We were talking pre-show. Yeah. Every picture they ever took together is in the opening credits.
It's like you it's one of those, like, the credits to me always feel like, unless they're moving the plot along, they
Mm.
should be long enough to just make sure you get all the names that you
Yep.
need listed. But this is one where they chose, let's play an entire song,
Yes.
but we don't have enough names to list. So you think it might be done because you haven't seen a name in 15, 20 seconds.
Yep.
And then fades in somebody's name of, like, like art director. And like, oh, okay, well, what about the director? We're getting there. Like,
Oh, you wait.
so
Had me
yeah,
on the edge of my seat.
this is one of the, like, usually credits move quickly, but this would be the time, if you saw it in the theater, this would be your bathroom break.
Yeah.
Like,
5 minutes in the movie.
go get us some popcorn.
Get that refill.
Yeah. So we come out of the credits, and it's Liz's
with a beard.
yeah, the
down to
Rip,
your
Rip
chest.
Van Winkle
Yeah.
credits. We cut about it. It's Liz's 17th birthday.
Mhm.
We've talked about this before in films, and it's really uncomfortable when you're showing, even if they're not teenage actresses, if you're showing teenage girls, like teenage characters, cover them up. Like,
Yeah, yes, the female characters in this movie are incredibly sexualized.
yeah, and so
Like
here
uncomfortably sexualized.
Here we have Liz. She's asleep in bed and just wearing a loose-fitting tank top and her underwear. Camera shot from above to a girl who literally is just turned 17 years old.
Yeah,
It's like, ugh.
Ew.
Again, it doesn't make it better just because she's really in her 20s.
Yeah.
And she gets victimized. Basically, she gets jumped upon by 3 hooded masked figures as they shove a jawbreaker in her mouth, seal it shut with duct tape, tie her up with ropes, and lug her off to the trunk of a car.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much intelligence to know right away that these are her friends. Like you're not, if you're watching this, you're like, oh no, what's going, like, you're not paying attention.
There's 3 of them.
There's 3 of them, and we've only seen the 4 of them together walking down the hallway, and then 15 minutes of credits. So the girls get in the car, and they're like, we're going to take her out for breakfast, and we're going to shove pancakes in her mouth, and we're going to tie her to the goalpost with hardly any clothes on, because she hardly has any clothes on.
Yeah.
And ha ha ha, this is what we do because we're such good friends. And they get to the pancake place, and they open the trunk of the car, and Courtney did not dislodge the, like, giant 6-week jawbreaker.
Yeah.
And she swallowed it whole like a billiards ball, I guess.
Yep. That's exactly what I was just thinking. They may as well just put an 8-ball in her mouth.
Yeah, choked and died. So now they have their dead friend Liz in the trunk of the car. Courtney takes a Polaroid. I think she took it more of a surprise
as it was opening.
Yeah, like,
just
we're gonna
surprise
and she's dead.
Haha, we kidnapped you.
Yeah, it was just like we did every year for your last 16.
That would have been something if every year they had done this.
Yeah, they just keep doing it to each other, like.
So it happens 4 times a year,
and she gets surprised every year.
I
didn't see that.
Oh, it's you.
So they panic. They drop the Polaroid. They drop the camera at breaks. It just red herring stuff.
Yeah.
And so what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? And Courtney, being the mean one, is like, A, this sucks, but B, I'm not going down.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna let you guys go down either. So who could do the best Julie's or Liz's mom impression? To which they all look at Rebecca Gayheart. She's like, I'm not doing it. Like, that's good because you're barely acting your part now. I don't want you to act like someone else either.
Yeah. Yep. Don't just set this one out, Rebecca Gayheart.
Right. Just continue focusing on being Julie.
Yeah.
So
done.
So Courtney, who is the queen of overacting.
Yes.
And it's part of her performance, but it's like, I just think that's who Rose McGowan is.
I don't know. I don't know Rose McGowan's character enough. I mean, I don't want to judge someone too harshly on being, engaged to Marilyn Manson, like
Right. But
choosing that,
well,
but
but it's like even the Tatum character in Scream 3 years earlier was still just very,
very,
very over the top.
very similar character
Yeah,
as well.
not as over the top as here,
Yeah,
but she wasn't the feature either. But
yeah.
yeah, any scene she was in, she was just everybody's going to know that it's me. I'm here. Pay attention to me, and we get a whole movie of that here.
It's literally like 86 minutes of Rose McGowan
Yes.
just full
Yeah,
force.
yeah. And so again, Julie's like, guys, we got to call the police. No, we're not. We're calling the school.
Nope.
So they call the school, and Carol Kane answers, and she is, you work in education. I've worked in education. Very soft as an administrator.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. She is a doormat.
Yes, very soft as administrator. So
well, I mean, they cast Carol Kane. What do you?
Yeah.
You're not going to get this commanding presence.
No, you're not. But that's okay. Like, I'm glad she got the work.
Right? Yeah, I like Carol Kane. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
I just like if they wanted a doormat, then you cast the right person.
Yeah.
But
and so it's like, hey, this is this is Liz's mom. Can you send her homework home with one of the girls? Sure. Okay. So the girls go to school, and naturally
act like nothing's happened.
Right. Julie is pretty upset. Courtney's walking around like, I did it. And Foxy is just Foxy. Like,
she's not smart enough to be anything but Foxy.
She did it.
She has one of those "I'm with stupid" shirts,
exactly. Pointing at herself.
Yeah.
And so, end of the day, Principal Sherwood stops Courtney in the hallway. Hey, make sure you stop and get my stuff because you're always tardy, and you're probably going to be tardy anyway. And
yeah.
Lo and behold, she forgets to stop and get her stuff.
Doesn't show up on time.
Because in everybody else's reality, Liz is sick. But Courtney's like, it doesn't matter. She's dead. Like, it doesn't register like, I have to keep up with the gag. I have to make sure I get her work to protect the alibi. When she's just like, oh, whatever. She forgets. So Fern Mayo shows up. Fern Mayo has a pretty obvious infatuation with Liz, which is fine, other than because she was nice to her one time.
There was a couple instances of Fern.
Yeah.
Again, this movie chose to make some choices. And it didn't make some other ones. This movie could have really been interesting.
Right. And we talked about that pre-show too. Like, the premise of this movie is pretty solid. You got three, for lack of a better word, three ditzy high school girls that accidentally kill their friend. How were they going to maneuver through it?
Yeah.
I had Weekend at Bernie's at one point until I realized
they're walking around.
I know
with the big Jawbreaker sticking out of her neck.
Before I saw where they were going with it, I had Weekend at Bernie's because I thought, oh, they're going to pretend that she's alive this whole time.
It's just like they put like turtlenecks and like neck
exactly
braces around,
scarf. But once they scrapped that, I took it out. I almost put Dead Man on Campus in my movie marriage as we can benefit from this, guys. But again, once the death of Julie became public knowledge, like all of those fell away. Yeah. Because this movie's not about Liz's death.
No, it's not about the murder at all.
Nothing. Like,
it's just about Courtney.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. And so that's what made this movie. It wasn't hard to follow, but I kept wanting to like look in the other lane. Like, I kept wanting to see more of Detective Pam Grier investigating the case.
Yes. Yeah. She was so wasted in this movie.
Absolutely. As a talent, not drunk.
Yeah. Well, maybe to get through the filming of it, she was. But
oh my God, it was like Nicolas Cage leaving Las Vegas. She was wasted,
just flowing everywhere.
But no, she was.
Yeah. They didn't do anything with her talents.
No.
And William Catt, PJ Souls,
they just
blink and you miss it.
They're cameos at best.
Yes.
Because honestly, I had to go back through and see after, because I said last week, oh, William Catt, PJ Souls are in this. I didn't even recognize them.
I didn't either.
And so afterwards, I was like, where was PJ Souls? Oh, that was Liz's parents, who honestly had more screen time than Liz.
And that was just moments,
Yeah.
and it was kind of like wide shots too,
Yeah.
so
Oh
like
yeah.
it was easy to not recognize
Yeah.
them because you couldn't see their faces.
We saw Souls and Kat from the upstairs overlooking the railing as they're coming in the front door, something
Hmm.
like that, to where it's like, yeah, you had, there was not a close up on any of them. And so, all right, so Principal Sherwood stops Fern and was like, hey, can you take Liz's homework
Hmm.
to her? And she's like, oh, I'd love to. At this time, the girls have, I say the girls, Courtney has concocted a plan. She's dead. Let's take her home because her parents are gone. Because
Yeah,
what parents don't leave their daughter home alone on her birthday?
yeah.
Um, and so let's take her home.
It's your birthday. Hey,
Right. Have a great time. We'll be back after your birthday.
hope you don't choke to death.
Right. And so Courtney's got a plan of, let's take her home, put her back in her bed, and like rough her up, make her look like she was raped.
Hmm.
Great idea. And they're all just kind of, not Julie, but just kind of laughing at the idea. And tear her clothes. Yeah, do that. Tear her clothes there. And rip her shirt a little bit. And it's like, ugh, just so disgusting.
Well, and they decide to go like, like again, kind of the Twin Peaks Laura Palmer
Yeah,
thing, where like, well, she led this double life.
exactly.
And
She was promiscuous, and
yeah.
because again, she's not there to refute it. Let's cook up this story.
Hmm.
And then it really just turned into Courtney's story time, because it
Yeah.
was like, let's make her as disgusting as possible. And again, Julie's like the only one who's actually friends with Liz.
Yeah.
So she's sitting there wanting no part of it. She's kind of going through some stuff, and she finds this old card on the desk or whatever. And it's one of those like recorder,
Yeah.
you speak into it and it records.
I will say that technology in this movie was ahead of its time.
A little bit, yeah. And so we've got that going on with trying to rough up her body.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, she rigor mortis is setting in a little. It's I can't get her arm to bend.
Yeah. she's getting really stiff.
And so Fern is like coming up to the house.
Yep.
And knocks on the door. Nobody answers the door. So she goes around to the back of the house, lets herself in.
Kind of like Black Christmas a couple of weeks
Yeah,
ago. At the end, like Keira Dulea goes to the door and like nobody answers. So I'm gonna go break a basement window.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
in.
Right. I know she's in there. This homework must be delivered.
Can't just leave it at the stoop or anything like that.
Nope. And so she does. She goes into the house and goes up the stairs, because again she has no idea. She knows nothing about Liz. She was nice to me once, yet I know what room's hers. I'm just going to go up there.
Just going to go up the stairs.
And so she stands outside the room and she's overhearing a lot of what's going on. Because Courtney, if you watch this film, Courtney does not stop talking.
No, she has to. There's no internal dialogue.
It's almost like the producers come through and said, hey, instead of settling on a salary, how about I pay you ladies by the minute? And you by the word,
spoken word,
get into the scene, and just whoever does the most, like, you'll get paid based on how much you talk. So Rose McGowan's like, okay. Liz is like, I'm good. Yeah, Liz got the raw end of that casting.
Yeah.
Like, Julie was trying to help her. She just kept opening the lid. What did you do to me? What did you do to me? What did you do to me? She's like, I'm trying to get my girl paid. And so they figured out, okay, we've got her in bed. She looks like she's roughed up. We've got our story. Let's go. Well, they open the door and there's Fern.
Yeah. Heard everything.
And again, here's where I thought, oh, they accidentally killed one girl. Now they're going to off Fern to cover up.
Yeah.
Nope. They go a different route. Because again, this movie is about what's the other choice. Like, here's what sounds like a good idea for what the plot of this movie could be, and then here's all the other choices. Let's go the other choice route.
But how can this choice feature Courtney?
Right, exactly. It's like it's almost like you picked up a choose your own adventure book and then just read it sequentially. Like, every scene is just like, how does this fit the story?
Every choice is just and back to Courtney.
Back-
Ellipses.
It's a choose your own adventure book where at the bottom of every page goes to the same page.
Yeah. Courtney is mean.
Yeah, it's just where you go. So of course Fern overheard everything. So they corner her and they're like, Courtney again is like, hey Fern, how would you like to be awesome?
Mm-hmm.
How
we got an opening.
Yeah, the Flawless Four have an opening with Liz's death.
Mm-hmm.
We know you're a loser, but we can make you a winner.
Mm-hmm.
Like, join with us. We'll get you all decked out. Well, you can be our new fourth.
You won't be the school condiment anymore.
Exactly. Right. And so she says, yeah, mainly out of fear.
Yeah.
But
a little curiosity too.
So yeah, let's do that. So they basically, and so Courtney and Marcy have this idea. We're going to turn her into, because you're just a plant, Fern.
Yeah.
We're going to make you a flower.
Mm-hmm. Makeover.
You're going to be my flower.
Uh-huh.
And so they create Violet. They basically, it's like they took the pink ladies trying to take Sandy and turning her into a pink lady. That's kind of the approach that they went here. Like, we're going to make you like us.
Yeah.
I like Judy Greer.
Same.
I love her as a performer. She got the real raw end of the stick in this film.
Yes, she did.
Neither one of her characters, again, one character, but Fern and Violet they just didn't work for her ability level.
No.
She's so much more talented than this. And so they turn her into Violet. This, in the guise of, this is the dumbest town in film.
Because nobody recognizes that Violet is Fern.
Everybody recognizes that Fern hasn't been at school for days.
Even the principal is like, she hasn't been here. But like, this new girl, Violet's attending classes.
And the principal is like, last time I saw Fern is when I sent her over to Liz's house.
Yeah.
Now I have 2 students missing.
Yeah.
But at least we got a foreign exchange student. Like,
one of my possible huhs, I'll go ahead and reveal it now, is how did no one else realize
I know
that Fern is Violet? Like, again, none of her teachers, like no adults in the building are like, who is this student that we've never met before? Or just recognized, hey, that's Fern wearing a dress.
That's Fern with a new hairstyle.
Yeah. I'm assuming she went to her classes, like her normal classes.
Right. She'd have to, you'd think. Oh. So Julie leaves the group. She feels very guilty at being a part of Liz's death, even though she was, but wasn't. But she feels also very guilty with what's going on with Fern. So she's leaving the group. Into which then Courtney has a new punching bag of like, oh, well, then you're the new target for all of our abuse.
Yeah.
She kind of joins drama. Like, she just, it's another sad state. And they even say it at one point, like, jocks and drama, like sports and drama don't mix or something like that. It's like, Julie's now the loser. So she's going to go be in drama. Like, because that's what losers do.
Losers go into theater.
So she joins theater, meets a guy named Zach on day 1. They decide they're going to go steady.
Yeah. She's waiting for the bus and he picks her up.
Yeah. Yeah. Violet becomes very popular. Matter of fact, she becomes too popular. So
at one point, she has sex with a mechanic in exchange for a car.
I guess.
I mean, that's what I got out of that.
Yeah, like this movie's got some really weird descriptors of what it means to be popular.
Yeah. Like, did this guy own the car? Was he just fixing the car?
I couldn't tell if he was just a shop student?
I don't know. Like, is this Otto's class?
Even then, was it sex? Because he still had on his jumpsuit. Like, and
It
he
was
rolled
extra,
over.
it was extra greasy.
Right, but it's like when he like they it was weird. They come out from underneath the car on one of those like rolly
Yeah.
platforms, and like he's on top and just he rolls off of her, still completely covered up.
Yep.
She just puts on some lipstick and it's like, thank you. Like, what was that your car? Like, I don't understand. But yeah, she gets a car. It's weird. It's just weird.
Maybe she just changed the air filter for him.
Maybe she was showing him how to do it. Like, under here, this is where you get to the catalytic converter.
Yeah.
So Violet has become very popular. Julie is still kind of watching from afar as Courtney, like, she can't just leave well enough alone.
Yeah.
Like, she had a plan, but now she keeps having, like, she needs to keep building on this story.
Yeah. Well, she has to be in control.
Right. It's all about control.
Yeah.
So Courtney's still, of course, trying to cover up the murder. They do find the body, but she's created a new story of like, well, okay, we say she's been raped, but who's she been raped by? Yeah. So Courtney like pretends to be Liz and goes to like a seedy bar that she is telling like the cops that she led another life. Like, I know this because I was her dearest friend.
Yeah.
She would go to these seedy bars and she would pick up men and she would take them home and have sex with them in her bed.
I was the only one that knew.
Nobody knew.
Not even Marcy or Julie
right.
knew.
So what's Courtney doing? Courtney is going to a seedy bar, picking up her fiance, Marilyn Manson, and taking her back to, because again, Liz's parents aren't home yet, taking them back to Liz's room. She like hid Liz's body under the bed as she then has relations with this man on Liz's bed just to show that there was a man there so that she could ruin the life of this other guy who is having sex with high school girls. Yeah. With no questions asked. Oh. So she wanted to make
the beautiful people.
Right? She wanted to make it look like this guy's raped Liz. Violet becomes very intoxicated would be the word I would use.
Sure.
With this newfound popularity because she's getting attention from people that have never looked twice at her, let alone once.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, she's become so popular, she's eclipsed Courtney's popularity.
And she's starting to hold it over Courtney as well.
Yes.
I have the power. I know the secret.
Yes, because I know that I could just blurb at any time. This definitely was giving, and the Clueless was a good reference you made earlier when Brittany Murphy's character got to become pretty popular.
Yeah.
And Alicia Silverstone's like, we got to fix this. So Courtney and Marcy have had enough of this. I keep saying Courtney and Marcy. Marcy just is there.
she's too dumb to realize what's going on.
So Courtney's had enough of this. So I love it when movies do this. She go to Kinko's. She somehow made 75,000 copies.
Yeah. And somehow had time to affix them to every locker in the school.
Yeah, every step going up to the school is covered with these. But basically, she finds Fern's yearbook photo, which was probably in the yearbook, blew it up without reducing image quality, which is tough to do in 1999.
Again, there's a lot of technology. Yeah, this movie was ahead of its time.
Very way ahead of its time. And plasters them all over the school. So now everybody that obviously is stupid reveals that Violet is really Fern.
No!
And purely everyone's hatred for Fern outweighs their newfound love for Violet. Like, oh, you had a glow up? Not in this school. We're not letting that happen. So now Violet is humiliated, which provides Julie an opportunity.
Yeah, to get back on top. Poor Fern.
Right. So Julie and Fern, they kind of get together and Julie tells her, like, I know what it's like to make choices out of fear. Like, it's okay. There are some pretty poignant things in this movie. Like at one point, Fern's talking to Detective Pam Grier and she's just like, I'm in high school. What is a friend? Like, you can't trust anybody.
These moments that could have been
more.
Exactly.
There were, I didn't write them all down, but
Yeah.
that was one that sticks out. But there were 2 or 3 different just kind of one-offs that I'm like, that's pretty deep. Like
Yeah.
for a movie this shallow, that's pretty
Yeah.
deep. So Julie forgives her. You're like, hey, I know what it's like to fall under Courtney, so you're good. So Courtney gets her prom date on board with whatever's going on. Everybody's starting to fall into place here. Julie still got her Ethan Hawke boyfriend. One of my favorite little scenes is they go to they go to a drive-in movie when it's closed, and they sit up on the wall and they're watching the sunset. But where they're sitting, the empty projector screen is blocking the sunset. And she's just like, it's so beautiful. And like I was watching it, my daughter was watching it too, and I just make those little digs. I'm like, they're literally looking at a brick wall. Like, they can't see the sunset. It's behind the brick wall.
Maybe it was like an American Beauty thing where like the brick wall was the most beautiful
was
thing.
the plastic bag.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That brick wall is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
That's true. Ethan Faughawk probably thinks.
Well, he is in theater. He's a deep thinker and a deep feeler.
Zach Tartak is the character's name.
Tartak.
I think he was from what was that Will Ferrell movie that we did, the comedy movie, like the prehistoric. I can't think of it. It was based on a TV show.
Oh, Land of the Lost.
There you go. I just couldn't think that. Tartak sounds like a Land of the Lost.
Yeah. There you go.
And so it's prom. That's all this boils down to, because it's a movie about high school girls.
It's a high school movie. It's got to end at prom.
It's a high school girls movie, so it ends at prom. Courtney knows that Dane Sanders is a lock for prom king, so she wants to be his date so that she could be the prom queen, because that's how prom works.
Sure.
They name the king, and then whoever your date is, that's the queen.
That's the queen.
You only vote for the king. Julie's at home because I can't go to prom. I'm a loser now. Fern doesn't go to prom. Zach Tartak doesn't go to prom because they're all losers. And this is senior prom, by the way. I know you you work at a big high school.
Yep.
Is your high school prom senior only?
It's juniors and seniors.
Okay. When I taught at Galesburg, because of the size of Galesburg School, it was just senior prom.
Okay.
Because there were 400 to 500 kids in the senior class. Well, no, probably 400 kids plus dates. So it's like you're already looking at 300 kids, 300 to 400 kids at prom. So yeah, it was senior only. But yeah, most schools are junior, senior prom. And this school is definitely not big enough to exclude the juniors, because there are only like 75 people at this prom.
Well, and they're all in the hallways because passing period is
exactly. It's true. Yeah, you know how many kids are at the school because they're never in class. So Courtney goes with Dane. Julie's at home. Her mom, again, we're talking days after. Julie or Liz's parents have come and they found her. I mean, again, the murder of Liz doesn't matter.
No. It's the least important thing in this plot. Right.
And so apparently Liz's parents are quickly getting rid of everything in the bedroom. The murder scene that the case is not closed on yet, but we're going to go ahead and pack some stuff up and get rid of it.
Just get rid of this evidence. It's fine.
It's fine. So she drops the bag off at Julie's. I struggled with the names all through the movie too. Like
I did too.
I couldn't remember who was what.
Yeah. The only Courtney is the only one I remembered because it was the only person that really talked.
Courtney was the one I had a hard time remembering because because she was there all the time. It was just memorable. I don't know. It was weird. But she upends this bag, and in this bag is this recorder card, and she has an idea. Because she's been hanging out with losers. So she's smart. So she gets a hold of this plane comes together very quickly. By the way.
It does. This is another one of my possible huns.
Like in the midst of prom.
Yeah. Prom has started. That's been established because they're going back and forth. Julie sat in her bedroom, and then Courtney and Marcy are at prom.
Yeah.
And so it's established that prom has started.
Yeah.
Julie is just sitting in her bedroom. Wearing what you wear, just sitting in a bedroom.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, she's coordinated with with Zach and Fern, and they're all dressed up and done up for
Yeah,
prom in the
exactly.
back of a limo.
Yes.
So they must have had a limo on standby in the event that they decided to go
That's
to
what
prom.
Julie's dad owns, a limo service, I guess. but yeah, like all of these events transpired within a few minutes.
Yes.
So they make their way into prom late. Back doors in this movie are open no matter what. Zach then goes around the school, comes in the back door. And the plan is we're going to wait until they're crowning the king and queen.
Mm-hmm.
So Dane gets called up on stage, and then they announce Courtney is the prom queen, and she's got a Bride of Frankenstein look going here.
She kind of does, yeah. Her hair is done up.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's like got Forrest Gump leg cages.
It's like structural engineering went
exactly.
into it.
So she makes her way up, and it is she's celebrating or whatever. Well, meanwhile, Zach, the now tech geek, because it's taking place with a PA system, and he's in drama, he knows how to work it all. So he splices in to the PA system because what Julie found on this recorder card.
I think he was soldering it at some point.
He appeared to be soldering. Yes.
Yeah. He can't just play it into the microphone. He had to wire it into the sound system.
No, we got to make sure this is flawless. But what was recorded, because again, if we go all the way back to the beginning, Julie was playing with that recorder card as Courtney was admitting her guilt.
Yeah.
I killed the popular girl. Well, who cares? Something like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what she said. But
Courtney, killed the popular girl.
Courtney Shade, with no help from my friends.
Social Security number.
Exactly. So apparently Julie accidentally recorded this confession and then had Zach flawlessly splice it into the PA system. Good for him, because he's going places.
That's a transferable skill.
Yeah, very much so. And while she gets announced, Zach then, I guess, just starts like flapping the card. So it keeps repeating what it says, but it's Courtney's confession.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole school turns on her in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And Marcy hides under a table. And
she doesn't know what to be.
Yeah. And everybody starts throwing their corsages at this murderer, this admitted murderer. And everybody is just like, ew. So they all start throwing their corsages at her as she is making her way through the crowd. They're all they're all parting. They're letting her vie for escape, as she just admitted that she killed the one person in the school that is dead. She did it. But that's okay. It's your social prison is much more damaging
than prison,
than legal prison. And right as she's about to exit, Julie cuts her off and takes a picture of her, of just how she looks, and she looks very grotesque. And then that's the movie.
Yeah. I think she reassembled the Polaroid camera.
I think so.
She probably had Zach do it.
Zach. That was another funny part to me, was as Julie's like retracing the steps of like, we took her picture.
Yeah.
Let's go to the parking lot of the pancake place we were at 4 or 5 days ago. Maybe more, because they said that Fern was not at school for several days.
Yeah.
And this was like a day after the murder thing. So the fact that Julie thought that this broken Polaroid camera is still going to be sitting in the parking lot of this busy pancake place, like, it's got to still be there. It's got to be there, Zach. Let's go find it. And even my daughter admitted, we joke because when my son is looking for something, if it's not out in the open, it's hidden.
Yeah.
Or lost.
It's just vanished.
It's lost. And so when they get to the parking lot and they get out of Zach's car, and she looks left and looks right and looks left again, and then throws her hands up like, it's gone.
I guess it's not here.
Yeah. So
It's not in this 3 foot by 3 foot area.
I can't say. And so I said, I go, whoa. I go, she's looking around like your brother does. It's like,
It's maybe she hasn't developed object permanence yet.
maybe not.
If I can't see it, it doesn't exist.
That's why she's so happy to see Zach every day when he drops her off at home.
I
Oh my God, you're still alive!
A black hole.
Oh, I thought you were just a figment of my imagination.
He ducks behind the couch and she panics.
Right? They lean in to kiss, and she doesn't close her eyes because she
Yeah,
doesn't
no,
want to lose him
no,
again. I can't face that hardship again.
I keep reliving this over and over. I keep losing you.
How she realized that it was Fern this whole time, I don't know. Fern had brown hair and Violet has blonde hair. Oh, that's Jawbreaker, folks.
This whole movie is just dumb. It's dumb and mean.
Yeah,
and
it's very mean.
And it could have been. It really could have been something.
Yeah, I was. Oh, the Donnas were in this too.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, by the way, the Donnas.
Yeah, that's right. And so as I was looking for an outside insight, we've talked about it before. Mm-hmm. Usually, when I'm looking for an outside insight, I look for the opposite of how I feel about it. If I don't like a movie, I try to find a review that is so over the top, like best movie ever, or vice versa. I couldn't. Like, when I was looking at positive reviews for this, they were all the same thing. They were all like, I could almost see through the computer screen of the now middle-aged woman who was in high school at this time or pre-high school at this time, and how transformative this movie was, because they were all that as positive reviews. Yeah. This movie's a classic. This was so high school. And I'm like, we graduated in 98. This movie came out in 99. My high school wasn't like this.
Nope.
Did we have mean girls? Sure. Did we have,
of course.
Did we have jocks? Yeah. But my high school was not anything like this.
No.
And so, yeah, so I had to, I'm happy with what I found as outside insights, but it took a lot more digging than usual, because and as shallow as this movie is, the reviews were just as shallow. They weren't in depth as to why this is a great film or why I love it. Mm-hmm. It's just, classic.
Why? Because
it's classic. I mean, it came out and I remember.
Yeah.
But that's what it was. It was just weird. So
yeah. Well, at this point in the show, folks, Oz and I give our own unique rating to the film we've been yapping about, 1999's Jawbreaker. Oz, how would you rate this flick?
Dumb.
just dumb. No numbers, just dumb.
That's it. Just dumb.
Okay. Yep. That's fair.
What are you giving it?
Oh, let's go. I didn't even pre-think this one. Let's go with just one disappointed Laura Palmer.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. This movie could have done things like Twin Peaks did, because it was basically the same thing. Again.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah,
double life,
including, and I don't think the director was trying to draw that connection, but Twin Peaks, it centers around this murder, but we get all of these tangent characters and what's going on in their lives that don't wrap around to the murder. And that's what this movie felt like to me, was I'm just watching everybody else. Like, what about the murder? And they're like, what about science? Like, what about, but wow, it's prom. We can't worry about
the
that.
movie continued to just be about the social hierarchy.
Yeah.
And it basically ignored the murder, because it was about the transformation of Fern into Violet, and and the shifting away from Julie.
Right.
That's all the movie was.
Right. Oh, this is weird.
Yeah. Well, next up, folks, Oz and I have been scouring the interwebs, searching for unprofessional reviews that tickle our funny bones. We hope they tickle yours as well. And our next comedy segment, Outside Insights. Oz, what do you got?
All right, I got two. One is not long, but longer, and then the other one's really short. It doesn't matter who wrote it.
Okay.
Their name's not necessarily appropriate for.
Got it.
Jawbreaker on Blu-ray equals amazing. That's not even a math problem. This was left 10 years ago. well, 11. Actually, 11 years ago today.
And I found myself, I've had to start, I've had to
Yeah.
redo math in my head because at the time of this recording, it is January 2nd.
Right. And so this was left January 2nd, 2014. Okay, so this movie is amazing. And this review goes out to anyone that gave it a bad review. The people who didn't like it are way too normal to know what dark comedies are all about. This movie is brilliant on what it delivers. It was made for the outcast weirdos to watch and enjoy. And being an unnormal individual, I absolutely understand this movie. I agree with another poster who said this is a rare gem of a movie. Rose McGowan is spectacular as her role, Satan in Heels, and is my absolute favorite character because she's so good at being dark. I also love Foxy. She, the perfect minion at Rose's side. So I highly recommend that you buy this Blu-ray if you have a dark sense of humor and love dark comedies. It is like Heathers for a new generation. But Heathers I love as well. Both are gems.
I love this person labels themselves as unnormal.
Yeah. Oh, don't you worry. You don't understand it because you're not like me. Nope. I'm unnormal, and so I get it.
Yeah, there's no way, even if I tried, that I could fully understand and appreciate
you just
this
can't.
movie.
You're too normal.
I'm too normal.
Yeah.
I just can't get it.
What's the criteria for being unnormal? You'll know it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're unnormal, you'll know it.
Yeah. And if you are normal, then you can't know it.
So if you didn't like this, you just
Is this person gatekeeping unnormal?
They're gatekeeping their definition of unnormal. Like they get to be the person who decides who
I'm
gets this.
unnormal.
Did
as
you
opposed to you normies?
Yeah, did you like Jawbreaker? I love Jawbreaker. Then you're just like me. But actually I'm not. You are. You just don't know it.
Well, then I hate Jawbreaker.
Right.
Why? Just because you like it?
Yeah.
You just.
It's whatever. So
yeah.
My other one is a 4-star review. It says the editing team did a really good job putting a CGI human leg over Rose McGowan's machine gun. Great job, effects team. Again,
way to go.
Way ahead of its time.
Technology for 1999.
Yeah, they did it. They
did. Yep, they pulled it off.
Yeah. All right, what's your outside insight?
I got 2 as well. They're both from the Internet Movie Database, and they're both 3 out of 10 reviews. The first one is a shorter one, and I think the name of the person is important. Jimbo93. So
Okay.
remember that this is written by a Jimbo.
Jimbo.
It's written by a Jimbo.
Do you know any Jimbos?
Well, there's Jimbo Covert.
No, do you know?
Do I personally know any Jimbos? No, I do not.
No. I know a couple of Jims, but I would never call him a Jimbo.
Same.
Yeah.
So yes, this is written by a Jimbo, left in July 1999. So it's pretty close after the movie came out. Rent Heathers instead. The similarities between this and Heathers seems more than coincidental. Heathers was a great movie, and I'd be up for a remake or whatever, but not this. On the positive side, there is the impossibly voluptuous Rose McGowan. Yep.
Thanks, Jimbo.
Thanks, Jimbo. Yep. Written by a Jimbo.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The other one...
It's the only saving grace from this film.
Uh-huh.
It's teenage cleavage.
Yep.
Oh.
The other one, left in May of 2002, is written by Chris Brown. I'm sure it's the same Chris Brown.
It's got to be.
Well, technically, it's Chris Brown 6453. Which
it is him.
It's him. Yeah, that's his calling card.
Yeah, that's his ghost reviewer name.
I mean, all of Chris Brown's songs start out with, "Hey, what's up? 6453."
He doesn't understand area codes or zip codes, so he just meets them in the middle.
Hey, I got 4 digits. So the subject line is, when I left the theater after seeing Jawbreaker, the first word that came to my mouth was, "Oh my God, I can't believe it! I just watched that." All together.
Just fangirling over it.
Yep. Again, 3 out of 10 though. Now the second word to come to mind was insipid.
Okay.
I wasn't sure exactly what that word meant, so I looked it up. Here is the Webster's New World College Dictionary definition of insipid. Adjective: 1, without flavor, tasteless. 2, not exciting or interesting, dull, lifeless. Now let me ask you something. I may have gone to a normal high school, but I certainly don't remember hearing about friends kidnapping other friends. It just doesn't seem like something friends do for each other at a birthday. Maybe get them drunk, maybe take them out to dinner, maybe write a stripper. But kidnapping isn't something I normally think of.
It's because you're not normal.
Yep,
Chris Brown.
it's Chris Brown.
You don't get it. Idiot.
Maybe take them out to dinner, maybe rent a stripper. You know,
back in high school,
yeah,
maybe.
But because those are normal.
Those
things.
are normal. I think he went to school with Jimbo.
Chris Brown and Jimbo.
Yeah,
I think Jimbo was one of Chris Brown's backup dancers.
I think so. It's a Chris and Jimbo show. Your fifth caller.
Maybe it's DJ Jimbo.
DJ Jimbo.
DJ Jimbo and Chris Brown.
That's us.
Where's all my voluptuous Rose McGowan?
Yeah. Raise your hand if you're a stripper who wants to come to my birthday.
All right, folks, it's that point in the show you've all been waiting for. Our signature segment, the 3-2-1, in which Oz and I each share 3 goods, 2 bads, and just 1 about this week's movie, Jawbreaker. Oz, what are your 3 goods?
Oh, first one, titular line.
Yes, there you go.
Way too many of them, though. They said Jawbreaker a lot in this movie. My second one is that it's under 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And the third one is the music wasn't bad.
Okay.
I mean, they had a little bit of the Donnas, you had a little bit of the Cars.
Yep.
So, not too bad.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you got?
Well, you just took 2 of my 3 goods.
All right.
I'll start with the first one, and then I'll go with what 2 and 3 would have been.
Okay.
I have some backups ready to go.
Okay.
So what I would have gone with in my first real good was the song Volcano Girls by Veruca Salt, which is the one that plays over the opening credits.
Right.
Longest opening credit sequence ever for a movie under 90 minutes, but at least there was a good song.
There was a good song, yeah.
Now, number 2 would have been Let the Good Times Roll by the Cars, and number 3 would have been the Donnas. However...
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. So my second good will be... I mean, Rose McGowan gets the point across.
Yeah, you don't doubt where her character is coming from.
Yes. So I'm not saying that she was great, but like she did what I think was called for.
Yeah, she nailed the part.
Sure. And my third good is, although you only saw like 90 seconds of this, I thought Julie and Zach were cute together.
They were.
Yeah,
I agree. They were. Like once Rebecca Gayheart got out of the Flawless 4 and was just normal, I'm like, you're like, for lack of a better word, like you're just way more attractive of a person.
Yes.
Not physically necessarily, but just
more welcoming.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I also like, and you just mentioned as well, how quickly she moved. Once she realized that peer group, how toxic it was. And yes, I mean, you could argue she should have done it years ago, but she quickly got out of it.
Right.
And moved on to a different peer group. So I guess good for Julie for having the guts to move on and found Ethan Faughawk to spend time with.
Yeah. He's a nice guy.
Yeah. So those are my 3 goods. Oz, what are your only your 2 bads for Jawbreaker?
My first one was they eventually stopped doing it, but there were a lot of scene transitions with sound effects involved. A lot of screen wipes, which is fine. Like, I don't care. Like, yeah, exactly. There were a lot of sound attached to the scene transitions. Not necessary. I don't need. It was dumb. Like,
can I confess something?
Yeah,
I had that as a possible good.
That's fair.
And it was simply because I like stupid sound effects.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, it didn't fit this movie.
No, it didn't at all.
Right. And so did it take me out? No, but it was noticeable because I'm already not having a good time. So I'm already kind of irritated. And then when you're doing a stupid thing I normally enjoy, when I'm not wanting to enjoy it, then it's just it doesn't downplay that thing. It's downplaying that you're doing that thing.
Yeah. No, I agree completely. Like, it's, again, in my context, it would have been, I like silly sound effects.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily like them in this movie.
No, you do something. You put those silly sound effects in, like I mentioned earlier, like Superstar. No problem.
Yeah.
No problem at all.
Like Biodome.
Yeah.
Or like something that you know is going to be awful.
Because it's not a dark comedy. It's just like playing a straight comedy.
Yeah.
But this movie's
Tank Girl was a movie that did it right.
Yeah, exactly. and you didn't notice how silly it was because the whole movie's silly.
Yeah.
This movie's just mean, and then you're
Yeah.
like, like, no, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And
Like the
my
big sound effect, like Fern removed her retainer, and you hear
yeah,
this like sound.
exactly. It's like, oh man, it took took me back to our days a little bit of the Oz and Curtis show at
Yep.
WHEN,
Uh-huh.
where you had the mini disc player full of
Yep.
sound effects lined up.
Uh-huh.
That's what it felt like. It's just like the sound director had like this. I just like the sample pad ready.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm like, nope, you don't have to. Just because you can doesn't mean you have to.
Mm-hmm.
And my second bad is just the movie's boring.
Yeah, it is boring.
It's just a boring movie.
Yeah, in fact, that's one of my. I have almost 15 possible bads here.
No way.
Boring is one of them.
Yeah, that's like a bad every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
What are your two bads? Could you whittle it down to two?
I'm going through it. I'm trying to. Yeah, let's see if I can narrow this down here. I'll go with although some of the music is good, when you're always playing like pop music underneath the scene,
Mm-hmm.
especially for a movie that's trying to be something it's not.
Right.
Like it's trying to like dig into the social hierarchy.
Yeah.
Like this movie doesn't pick a lane. It's trying to be all of the lanes.
Mm-hmm.
And it just like I found it grating where like there's always this like little like ska music like playing
Mm-hmm.
underneath every scene.
It was such a 90s thing too.
Yeah. And it works in some movies.
Yeah,
like,
it does.
Like, you like a Clueless, something
Yeah.
that's silly and whatnot. But this movie, again, it's trying to be everything, and it's just, I just found it very irritating.
Yeah.
So that's my first bad, and oh god, my second bad. Let's just go with. We mentioned it earlier. This movie just wastes people. Pam Grier, PJ Souls, Tatiana Ali.
Yeah.
Like I saw Tatiana Ali in the cast. It's like, yeah, I got some Fresh Prince. She had like 3 lines.
Right. She's just a cheerleader.
Yeah. And this movie wasn't shot well either. It's like I could barely tell it was Tatiana Ali.
Right. Well,
like everything's like it's either wide or it's like middle. There was like the only time you had a close up was on like like Rebecca Gayheart or Rose McGowan's face.
Yeah. I would be curious, like now, 2025, to if possible, to talk to some of the talent from this, like a Tatiana Ali, William Catt, PJ Souls, Carol Kane, and just be like, Pam Grier even, and be like, tell me, like, what was it that got you to sign on?
Paycheck.
And right, but it's like, but how do you feel about it now? Like, looking back,
back at James Lipton.
There we go.
Looking back at Jawbreaker in your illustrious career, Pam Grier.
Because there are some movies that just the talent will say, yeah, it's a paycheck movie, which is fine. But it's like this movie really didn't go anywhere. It didn't make any statement that wasn't already made. It's just, but you've got people involved that are recognizable, and you just want to ask, like, this. Clearly, this could not have been the highlight of your career. Like, what brought you on board? Was it just you had a dry spell and then they asked you and you're like, yeah, I'll do it. But I'm curious, like, for Tatiana Ali, because again, she was a fine actress. I loved her in Fresh Prince, and this wasn't so far removed from that I'm like, you could have been. I don't know the ins and outs of these people's lives. I get a PJ Souls, a William Catt, a Jeff Conaway. Like, those guys are a little long in the tooth at this point, to where it's like, yeah, I'll take that role. But like Pam Grier, she looked great.
Yeah.
And this was after Jackie Brown.
Yeah, it was just 2 years after Jackie Brown.
It's like, so there's this.
She was supposed to be having like a career renaissance here.
This career resurgence based on like from 2 years, you went from Tarantino to Jawbreaker. Like, ugh.
Yeah, this I'm trying to think, like, what was the point of this? What was the message? Is it like popular mean girls are bad? Like, is that the message?
They're good until they're bad.
Yeah. I don't know.
Having a 14-year-old daughter that's not in the like quote unquote popular group, I see a different dynamic than I did in the classroom. The classroom, they all walk in, they're students. You know which
Yeah.
ones are popular, you know which ones aren't, but we know extra information about those kids.
Mm-hmm.
I know if you're good at math or not. I know if you're good at reading. Like it's just it levels the playing field. But there's no social aspect with your teachers. It's just
Yeah.
but seeing her like she marches to her own drum, which I absolutely love. But at the same time, there is an intimidation factor of the popular kids. And I've told her that, because she goes, there's a lot of people that just don't really like them. And I'm like, that's normal.
Mm-hmm.
That's normal. Why are they friends with them? Because they don't want to be targeted by them. Like you will find mean people often are popular because they're surrounded by people that can't handle mean people.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm your friend, you won't be mean to me, right? No, I still will. They still call each other names and they're still rude to each other, but we walk around at football games together. So we're friends,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but they're not ostracizing.
Right. Like she's had a rough couple of years at junior high where she has had friend groups that have become toxic to her, not towards her necessarily, but just environments that she's like, I don't want to be a part of that anymore. And she's removed herself from them.
Kind of like Julie in some ways.
Yeah, kind of like Julie. And her growth at home and socially is just her personality's become so much stronger and more defined because it's not murked and sullied by those around her.
Yeah.
When you have somebody who says that they're your best friend and then they're asking you why you're eating something because you're going to be fat and she's like, and she's way better without that stuff.
Yeah. You've got an awesome kid.
I do have an awesome kid. You do too. I have one more awesome kid than you.
Yeah,
do,
you have awesome kids, but we were just talking about the one. So.
Yeah, but yeah, she is. She's a great kid.
Yeah.
She's handling her 4 wisdom teeth extraction very well. She woke up yesterday in a panic though because swelling had set in.
Oh yeah.
And she's just like, "Oh my god." We're like, "You'll be fine. You'll be fine." So.
Well, she always wakes up by doing the Kevin Home Alone.
Actually, she was saying when she was showering the other night because she'll take the washcloth and just kind of kind of smack it against. She goes and she forgot.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, "Oh." but no, she is an awesome kid. Thank you for that.
Yep, she is. All right. Well, hey Oz, what's your only one? If you have others, feel free to share them. But
fair enough.
What's your official, huh?
The one that I stuck with and I said this to my daughter as we were watching, maybe 2/3 of the way through the movie, is that why does this movie feel like I've been watching what all the non-playable characters are doing? And that kind of echoes what we talked about earlier of the plot of this movie should be Liz is dead.
Mm-hmm.
How are these girls going to maneuver that? Like, you could still have some high school dynamic in there, some hierarchy, some lying, etc. But how are these girls how long can they live in this lie of dead Liz?
Yeah.
But then the movie is like, oh, yeah, forget Liz.
Yeah.
The principal doesn't matter anymore. Pam Grier doesn't matter anymore. The parents never mattered. Like Liz is dead. They know she's dead. And it's like there's nothing going on about it. That matters in this movie. Again, you feel like that plot is going on somewhere else and we're watching the NPCs. Like, I'm getting ready for prom. What are you doing? And
yeah.
And I get that when I'm walking around in Skyrim or even in Zelda and you see all these people conducting their lives and you're like, you just stop for even a couple minutes and watch these NPCs walk around and you're like, these people are programmed to have things going on. Mm-hmm. They have a schedule to keep, and so
it's like the dog chasing its tail in Zelda.
Yeah, it's like that dog's doing that even when I'm gone. Like,
it's still chasing its tail.
So that's my is this. Why does this movie feel like I'm just watching non-playable characters?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
What do you got?
Oh, of all the things that I could have picked, such as like. I'm going to get a little graphic with this one.
Okay.
Again, this is not my official one, but you mentioned before that Courtney set up the stranger.
Yeah.
They found his discharge in the bed.
Right.
Would they not have also found hers? Like, isn't that science? Like,
this movie isn't that far ahead of its time.
Yes, despite the technology we
Right.
mentioned.
The kids
yes.
are ahead.
So that's my possible, and I understand if you cut that.
Oh no, it's staying. Don't say things and then create more work.
We are a one-take podcast.
Yeah, I'm going to say this, but if you want to cut it, go ahead. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to cut it.
It sounds exhausting. My real this is a very subtle thing.
Yeah.
Did the filmmakers really think that calling the high school the Reagan Rhinos would stick it to conservatives?
Yeah.
Hey, did you get it? It's Reagan,
Yeah.
and it's rhinos.
Get it?
Ah!
It's 99. Oh, yeah. Conservatives would not have watched this movie.
No.
Like, just by and large, like it's
I will say
way too much color on the cover of this box art.
I'll say Jimbo might have watched it.
Jimbo watched it.
Jimbo.
But he watched it for other Christian values.
Yes. DJ Jimbo.
So he watched it for the skin.
Yeah. So that's my Do they really think that, like, oh, we're gonna stick it to the right wing?
Yeah, we're gonna
call this high school the Reagan Rhino.
We're gonna lure all these conservatives into watching our movie, and they're gonna be so offended when they see the name of our school.
Yeah, nothing screams liberal like Jawbreaker.
Yeah. What do you have next week?
Let's flush this turd and move on.
You did comment last week that we have 5 movies this month, and 4 of them are critical darlings.
Yes, that was the one that is not.
So it's all uphill from here.
Yes. So next week we're skipping ahead to 2006 for this movie, a movie that socially at the time was ahead of its time.
Yes, I've not seen this film.
Yes, I've seen it one time, and it was in the theater.
By yourself.
Critical darling. We're moving over to Ang Lee, and this is another. Again, we're in Ouch month, so we're gonna have Brokeback Mountain. It in some ways, again, it kind of sounds like a bad, like, professional wrestling finisher.
Yeah,
I can hear Jim Ross. He's setting up for the Brokeback Mountain.
Oh my god!
My god! It's got him in the Brokeback Mountain.
It's his music.
That was an alternate name for the Stone Cold Stunner, the
Brokeback Mountain. Yeah, he scrapped those plans quick. Something tells me this movie and Stone Cold don't ally with views.
Yes, something tells me Stone Cold doesn't enjoy this movie. But yeah, we're gonna watch Brokeback Mountain. We're gonna watch some actors put on an acting clinic here.
Yes, inside the actor's tent. Yeah, it's one of those that culturally it was so ingrained in everything that you didn't have to watch it to know what it was about. And I like a lot of very good films, I just haven't watched them.
Yeah.
Like we hadn't seen Whiplash before, you hadn't seen next week's movie before. It just happens.
Well, you and I tend to swing towards certain genres.
We do.
Fantasy, comedy, sci-fi, horror, superhero.
Yeah, women in chains, exploitation.
Women. Specifically that type of exploitation. Yeah. If it's not women in chains, I'm not watching it.
If it's not prison exploitation movies.
Prison exploitation.
I'm not. It's about a new year, new me. Like
if it's not minimum security penitentiary,
right.
I'm not watching it.
Yeah.
But drama is not just straight up drama is typically not a genre that you and I just like, hey, let's pop in Dog Day Afternoon. Hey, let's pop in The Apartment.
Right. No, are those movies great? Yeah. Do I appreciate them? Yeah. But you're right. Like with a finite amount of free time.
Yeah. Hey, let's pop in The English Patient.
Said no one ever.
Yeah, exactly.
But if I'm scrolling through and Titanic is on and Flash Gordon is on, I'm watching Flash Gordon.
Yeah. Like if it's I'm gonna get you sucker or Schindler's List, I'm watching I'm gonna get you sucker.
Exactly. Like
is Schindler's List a better movie? Of course it is.
Yeah, right. You're 100% right.
But you don't have a pulsating big toe in Schindler's List like you do it. I'm gonna get you sucker.
It's like, honey, do you want to watch Officer and the Gentleman or do you want to watch Clue? Clue.
Yeah.
So, but no, you're right though. And again, I I say that because you hit the nail on the head. It's more of a genre feel. Plus, dramas just their attitude sucks. Their mood sucks sometimes. Like
Mm-hmm.
they just, I want when I sit down to watch a film, I like to laugh. I
Mm-hmm.
like to be wowed. I like to be scared or tempted to be scared. Like those are the things that those are the emotions I want elicited.
Yeah.
I rarely want to be like, make me feel bad.
Yeah.
Make me sad. Like, yeah, they're great films, but
Yeah. It's just not something I can just pop in at any given
no.
point.
And so I say that because when I say I haven't seen this film, it has nothing to do with the content of the film. It's just one of those.
Just haven't watched it.
Just haven't watched it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like you line them up and you're like, do you want to watch? Well, you just go through like even you go through the titles of all of our episodes. It's like I'm just at a glance here. Wet Hot American Summer, Masters of the Universe, What We Do in the Shadows, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Dracula Dead and Loving It. I'm just grabbing names at random. Like that's what we watch. That's our show. It's what we want to watch. When do we get a bodyguard in? When we let our wives pick. Why did we see Legends of the Fall? Because somebody else wanted us to watch it. But yeah, that wraps up Jawbreaker for this week. Social media wise, you guys can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Jump on those shorts, get those views up, folks, so that we can make more money.
I like me better in 15 seconds than 60 minutes, just personally.
I do when I put our shorts together. I said just 30 seconds or less. Like that's just how people want to watch it.
Yeah.
If you want to watch longer,
consume their content these days.
If you have time to watch 45 seconds of us, then just watch the full hour and 20.
Yeah.
Like, in for a dollar, in for a dime, out, whatever that saying is.
Yeah.
In for a dollar, shame on you. So, but no, you guys could make sure you come back next week to listen to us talk about Brokeback Mountain, a movie I've not seen and you've seen once, and we'll see how that goes. So, it's going to be a great movie. I know that.
It is a great movie.
And so I'm looking forward to seeing that for the first time. So for another episode of Let's Talk About Flicks, I'm Oz.
I'm Curtis.
And we'll see you guys next week with Brokeback Mountain.